Hey everybody, Ryan Bassam here with my buddy Kym Lloyd. We've got another Road to 100 podcast for you, presented by Mallard Bay, your best guide in outfitter solutions, Benelli Firearms, the best shotguns on the market, Lacrosse boots, keep those feet warm, RW Coolidge for the best nostalgic leather and canvas goods for the waterfowler, First Light, their new waterfowl line has been keeping us warm and dry on our hunts around the world, Apex Ammunitions, from steel to tungsten, best ammo for the job, Sound Gear, protect your hearing and enjoy the hunt. Montana Knife Company, you got to eat those birds, guys. And finally, Safari Club International, our favorite conservation organization, protecting hunters' rights around the world.
And today we have a special guest, Toby Brolin, owner of Cadillac Creek Outfitters in West Texas. Toby's story isn't the typical tale of a hunting guide. In fact, it's far from it. He's a passionate musician whose life's journey has taken him on many unexpected twists and turns, leading him down paths of faith and redemption. But that journey has landed him exactly where he was meant to be. So stay tuned for this episode of the Road to 100 podcast to take a deep dive into the life of Toby Brolin. In the heart of every waterfowl hunter, there's a memory where it all began. For us, the waterfowl life started in the southern United States in the flooded timbers and expansive marshland. But as our journey unfolded, the quest for waterfowl led us beyond our home. The passion eventually takes us to different flyways, different countries, and beyond. We discovered that the culture of waterfowl transcends borders. And so, a daring dream took root, a dream to hunt 100 different species of waterfowl across the globe. We wanted to share the story of adventure and encounters with fellow hunters, each sharing the same passion as us. The landscapes will change, the species will vary, but the passion remains the same. One dream, a long road, 100 species. This is the Road to 100. All right, guys, welcome back to the Road to 100 podcast. We're here in Amarillo with the man of mystique from Cadillac Creek, Toby Brolin himself. And we're going to kick it right off with Ryan Bassam's signature rapid fire.
Okay, all right, here we go. As fast as you can. We're just going to rattle these off. You get 10 questions, all right? That's how we play the game. All right. Country music or rock music?
Country music.
Yellow lab or black lab?
Black lab.
Steak or pizza?
Steak.
12 gauge or 20 gauge?
12 gauge.
Vacation, mountain or beach?
Mountain, man.
Ducks or geese?
Geese.
Clown or a magician?
Magician, bro.
All right. Layouts or A-frames?
Layouts.
No TV or no phone?
No TV.
All right. Bluebird sky or overcast?
Overcast.
Pass with flying colors,
Wow,
man.
yeah, that was maybe our fastest.
I don't.
Yeah,
that was
definitely
really
the fastest one.
That was crisp. Truly
I was
rapid.
really worried about that.
No, it's low stress. Just a little bit of an icebreaker. Get us kicking off and going. Well, sweet, man. So we've been here for 2 days with you.
Mm-hmm.
Our mustaches have been dueling it out. It's
Yeah.
been good times.
Yeah. Got a little frost on them in the mornings,
Yeah,
but
it's
somehow.
a little frosty, but yeah, man, we've had a great time. It's been awesome. I've been following you for a long time. You ran an awesome operation out here, so it's good to finally get to see it in person. And gosh, Logan, you've had nothing but great things to say about these guys. So this has been a heck of a lot of fun. But man, like the way we like to do our podcast is just shoot from the hip, man. Like, would love to hear more about your story. I know Mallard Bay just did a cool film. If you guys haven't seen that yet, go check it out, watch it, and maybe we can pull back some more layers to the story here. I don't know. And so give us the nickel tour, man. Like, I still would love to hear more about, you growing up. Like, obviously you had a little bit different path in life. Yeah. You know, I don't know too many other waterfowl hunters that have cool tattoos like you do. So you got a pretty cool music background. Yeah. Like, let's start there and see where we go.
Yeah. Way back in the day.
Like high school day? Like
No, I grew up in a hunting family. You know, my granddad hunted, my dad hunted. It was kind of a something that always was going on, but my granddad passed away when I was in the second grade, so I missed out on most of the hunting with him. I got to do a lot of fishing, but when he passed away, kind of all those opportunities to go hunt went with him. And me and my dad might get to slip away and go on a dove hunt once a year, and if we got lucky and got a limit between the two of us, we were really doing something. You know, it was just didn't get to go that often. So music kind of took over, and my dad was a construction guy. He was working in Austin, and I remember standing at the airport back when you would be able to watch the planes roll in and say hi to people back in the good old days.
Right.
And old man gets off the plane, and he's got this dude behind him carrying a guitar case with hair, long hair, and just there was just something about that. I was like, damn, I want to be that guy. And I ended up growing my hair out and wanted to be a musician. I think I was like 6 when I started playing.
Dude, that's awesome.
Parents got me a guitar, and that was the one thing that really grabbed a hold of me. But I mean, I did a lot of different stuff. I shot competitive trap. I wrestled. I did a lot of different things growing up, but music was that one constant thing.
Yeah.
And that was what I thought I was going to do with my life. Got the opportunity to do a lot of cool things, play with a lot of cool bands, and we were always the fine print at the bottom of every bill. We just never got that big break. But I think I love the fact that I grew up doing the music thing, because I learned a lot of hard lessons that I applied to the waterfowl industry. A lot of broken promises and
Sure.
heartbreaks, but can't tell you how many times I heard, this deal is the one, this show, there's talent scouts here or there,
Right.
or we had a private showcase for Epic and Atlantic Records when I was 15, and
Dude, that's cool.
just a lot of cool stuff, but nothing ever stuck.
Mm-hmm.
One thing after the other, where there was a bandmate leaving or parents pulling a bandmate out because they didn't want them to be thrown to the wolves at an early age. There's all the different things kind of kept getting in the way, but the whole time that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a rock star.
So
And
did you do guitar lessons from like 6 or
yeah, I
self-taught,
started taking guitar lessons when I was 6.
Right on.
And then went through several different teachers through the years, but the guy that I would say really kind of molded me into a well-rounded musician was a guy named Johnny Reverb, and he grew up in Austin with Stevie Ray Vaughan. Like,
That's cool.
His mom and Stevie's mom were, within I don't even know if both of them are living now. It's been a while, but even back when I was taking lessons, they were still in close. They talk,
Sure, stay in contact.
Yeah, stay in contact.
Yeah, totally.
Adderall. but they. So he kind of took me under his wing and made me start writing songs and really formed me into being a musician. And
Like a well-rounded musician,
Well-rounded,
not
yeah.
just somebody that picks at the guitar, but somebody
Right.
that can write music, the whole thing. That's cool.
And I wanted to, when I was taking lessons, I wanted to be in a band. I was young, but wanted to be in a band, and he put together this program where he went and found kids that were taking lessons different places around around town, and put a little band together.
School of Rock.
Yeah, basically.
That's
Yeah,
sweet.
Basically,
Amarillo
before-
style.
Yep, before it all came about, we were doing it before it was cool.
That's awesome.
But no, man, I wanted to be a musician all through high school. That was just what I did.
Yeah.
Graduated early, moved out to the East Coast, toured up and down the coast, toured all over the place, and like I said, we played with a lot of people.
Sure.
Got to hang out and meet a lot of people that I grew up
Definitely.
listening to, and have no regrets. But it just I never got that big break.
Yeah.
Decided, I guess it was 2009-ish, 2008, 2009, somewhere in there. Decided it was maybe time to go and get an education and go to school. So I went to school for music. made a lot of sense at that point in time. As a musician, I was also doing a lot of the musician extracurriculars, where foggy thinking, we'll say.
Yeah.
But so I left the road where I was making a living with music to go to school to get a diploma that said I knew what I was doing with music.
And paid for it.
I paid for it, but
Yeah.
I think it was more or less trying to make mom and dad happy,
Sure.
But my first semester, my dad passed away unexpectedly, and I was already on a path of self-destruction. That was just kind of the norm, I guess, in the industry that I was in.
Sure.
I didn't always make the best choices, but same time, it was always readily available.
Right.
And my dad passed away. It kind of sent me for a little more of a spiral than I was ready for, I guess. But
Sure.
I think that it was a big wake-up call for me. Realized real quick that my mom and nieces and my sister and everybody that was here, they needed me to grow up and needed me to be the guy that he was, and that was really big shoes to fill. But I'm glad that I realized it, and I came back home, and I had every intention of moving back out to the coast, or chasing the rock and roll dream. And I don't know, man. I think it was a God thing. I hated losing my dad. I'd give anything in the world to have him back. But at the same time, I think if my old man was sitting there with the good Lord and said, "Hey, I'm going to take you, but I'm going to save your son," he would have done it in a heartbeat.
Sure.
Just like any of us,
Absolutely.
And,
if you're a dad,
if you're a dad, And I hate to have to look at it like that, but I straightened my shit up, got my life together, and it wasn't an overnight deal by any means, but took his, enough of the sad stuff. I took his ashes to Canada on a hunt.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want to just bury him, and wanted to do something different. So booked a hunt in Canada, took his ashes up there, and it just kind of lit that fire, man. I'd never seen birds work like that. Never got to experience it the right way. So
how long had it been since you'd been on a bird hunt of any kind?
Oh, dude, I remember going on a couple of duck hunts with my dad, but I'm talking 10, 15 years probably.
You were fully committed to that musician lifestyle.
Yeah, it was. That's what I was. And so it was just. But I knew that my dad was a sportsman. He would have.
That's something y'all shared together before he passed. Yeah.
He would have wanted something like that, and so it lit a fire. And when I got back home, was introduced to a guy that kind of hunted on the weekends and looked past my dreadlocks and eyeliner and tattoos, and would give me an opportunity to go hunt. And I fell in love with it. It was like it was a happy place. It was a place that I kind of felt like I could somewhat be connected with my dad, or that family heritage, and feel like I was living up to the name, And so anything that I've ever done, I'm one of those guys that if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna go all in.
Sure.
And just fell in love with it, and that led to getting a dog, and learning how to call and learning how to do everything that I could to be the best hand that I could, and learn everything that I could about the sport. And difference between me and a lot of folks and a lot of misconception is that I didn't grow up doing this. I was not around it. I was, gosh, sorry, phone call.
No, you're good.
I wasn't always around it, so I just learned the hard way by going and hunting public land, going and getting my ass kicked, learning with hard knocks, and there's something about that. If you can go and be successful hunting public land and go out and be stoked to come home with 2 birds,
right?
That's awesome, and that's where it started. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
But I saw an opportunity and knew that if I didn't take the opportunity and build a company and start a company and start doing it, it wouldn't be long before somebody else did. Sure. And then I'd be in the same position that I grew up in, not having a place to hunt, struggling, didn't want my kids to have to worry about a place to hunt. And so I started the company, and I think a lot of it is luck, but at the same time, I think the good Lord has done. My daddy's up there pulling strings, and the good Lord has done me right, and I take zero credit because I don't deserve the credit. There's so many people out there that are better callers than me, more well-rounded than me, better looking than me, whatever you want to say. But I think it's a God thing, and I'm where I needed to be and where I need to be. And I think that this business is my opportunity to share my testimony and try to put it out there that if you can dream it, you can do it.
Yes. Love
and
that. Yes.
If I can make a living doing music, been there, done that. If I can make a living killing birds, there's nothing you can't. There's nothing you can't do.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that's my that's my purpose.
There's a part of the story that you told me and the rest of the team when we first talked to you about joining Mallard Bay, but it was about the kind of ash or coming through the flames when you with the bar, right? So what was the bad business deal that happened there?
Yeah, so when I moved back here right after my dad passed, I didn't have a job. I'd already been, I'd been on the road for several years. Kids graduate, everybody's moving on. The kids that I was hanging out with weren't the people that I needed to be hanging out with. Right. So my band ended up playing a show in town, and at the end of the night, one of the bartenders was talking about leaving, needed a new job or whatever, was leaving. I needed a job. He was leaving the job, so I got an interview. I'd never poured a drink in my life. I drank plenty, but got an interview, got the job, and that was my life for the next probably, I think, 10 years. I bartended, and of course I got tired of it throughout the years. Wanted to do something else, but resume wise, I'm a musician and a bartender.
Yeah.
So I try to get a job at
hospitality and entertainment, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect freaking goose guide.
I'd try to go get jobs at different, like a career job.
Yeah.
And, nothing ever worked out. I got turned down as a janitor. So, you're getting pushed down every time you take a step. You're like, all right, cool. Maybe what's my next step? Well, the guys that I was working for that owned the bar, they took me to lunch. It was October. They took me to lunch and said, hey, we're ready to retire. We're not going into this new year with the bar. So I'd been trying for several years to find a career. Mm-hmm. I'd already met my wife. We had started a family, and I wanted something better, but it just wasn't, nothing was working out. Sure. So said they weren't going to the new year with the bar. So I decided I'm going to buy this bar. And worst decision of my life. I knew better the whole time. I was already miserable, right?
Yeah.
But
you didn't love it.
No, I didn't love it, and I'd been trying to get out, but just in my mind, out of necessity, trying to do the right thing for my family. I was like, I'll just buy it. All the things that I had a problem with the bar, I thought I could be the savior and turn it all around, and we did. Business was up 35%. Things were shaping up, but for the 2 years that I owned it, books-wise, everything was going well, but I wasn't paying myself. I was living off of tips, just trying to pay it off so that we could see that light at the end of the tunnel. Mm-hmm. And without going too in-depth, I made a terrible business decision, and I didn't follow my heart. I made a decision that I thought was the right one at the right time, or at that time, but things ended up going south. Lost the bar. I'd already started Cadillac Creek, but we were very, very early on. When they closed the bar on us, I had 6 hunts booked, and this was in like March, something like that. So, I mean, I've got no income, a mountain of debt, and no, I've been trying to find a job. What do I do now? So, it was a dark spot, but at the same time, I'll never forget the night that it happened. My wife and I were sitting on the patio, and she said, I want to tell you something. I don't mean this to hurt you, but we've had the best day that we've had in years. And I was like, today, of all days, I'm like a mess trying to figure out what I'm going to do.
Right.
But it was just that weight lifted off my chest. It was like the door slammed in my face, and even though I was so lost and didn't know what to do, it was a good thing.
Sure.
And so luckily, she had her shit together, so to speak, and we were able to make it work. I lived off of credit cards and everything else for about 6 months, just trying to figure out the next step. Mm-hmm. We didn't have really, with 6 hunts coming, there's not much to look forward to as far as income, but ended up getting hired from another friend of mine was opening a restaurant, hired me as a GM, and we ended up opening 3 restaurants together. Opened 2, but they had 3 restaurants total. Opened some restaurants. Was in that business for a couple of years, but they knew when they hired me that I had already had Cadillac Creek going, and they were supportive of it. let me hire a GM during the hunting season so I could, spread the workload, and made it work, gave me an opportunity, and I'm forever grateful for that, being able to manage and do both. And we ended up mutually kind of agreeing that it was time to hang it up right before COVID hit, and dodged a bullet on that. Again, good Lord stepped in and took care of us, and went full time, and it's been a huge blessing ever since.
Dude, that's awesome.
Just crazy.
There's so many parts about your story that I love. I mean, I think a lot of people can relate to a lot of the things that you've been through. Maybe they weren't musicians and bar owners and things like that, but at some point in our lives, I know personally I have, you go through these tribulations.
Yeah.
And how you face those tribulations and decide how to navigate through it and what kind of mindset you're going to have can make or break you, can make or break your family.
Yeah.
And so going into those situations and finding the positives, continue to grind it out, like not accepting defeat, but just to keep moving forward. So a lot of times you need those violent shoves off the cliff, so to speak.
Yeah.
I thought I had a dream job and my life was perfect, and it got ripped out from under me in a heartbeat. And I thought my world was over, kind of like probably how you were feeling. So I relate to that feeling a lot. It was the best thing that ever happened to me, man.
100%.
Like I thought I was living the dream.
Yeah.
Now I think I am now, but who knows what's to come later.
What's
I mean,
next,
there's just so many different chapters in life, and just the resilience that you've had through your journey is pretty inspiring. I love it.
And I think, like I said, a lot of that came from, I watched my parents work their ass off, and I don't like saying we came from nothing. I don't want to say that, but in a nutshell, I mean, I don't know how else to say it. Like, my parents worked their ass off to make sure that we were able to do anything that we wanted to do, whether it was sports or the music or whatever. I had full support, and that was huge. But I think a lot of the hard knock lessons that I learned was from music. You're in a extremely saturated industry.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be different. You have to be what people want you to be, and be, and
Differentiate yourself.
Yeah. And when I got into the waterfowl stuff, I hid from that for a long time. I was like, I look like this. I'm going to go knock on Farmer Joe's door and say, hey, can I hunt here? And I ran from that for too long, and thought that I needed a face. Ended up partnering with a small town preacher when we started Cadillac, and I thought, okay, this is awesome. I got this preacher that's going to go and be the face of the company for me. And we didn't see everything eye to eye business wise. I mean, everything ended on a good note, but I bought him out after our first year, and just kind of had to take a step back and realize, like, I can take all those things that I learned with music and apply them to this. Nobody's going to remember the guy standing on stage wearing khaki shorts and a polo shirt.
Nope.
They're going to remember the guy in leather pants dancing on their bar top,
Right.
And so I was like, I can't hide from who I am. I'm not going to look any different. If this is something I love, I need to just embrace it. And as hard as that was for me, that's when things kind of started taking a turn. And like, people, there's definitely people that still judge the old book by the cover.
Sure.
There always will be. Yeah. But if you can get 5 minutes, 5 seconds, yes sir, no ma'am, handshakes, the good old.
I mean, we're in Amarillo. That goes a real long way in this town, yeah.
But you only get one name, man.
Right.
And I just ran with it, and like I said, man, I give 100% of the credit to God and pulling me out of giving me many chances, first, second, third, fourth,
But I think those are lessons learned. Probably they prepared you for what this has been. I remember when you first came onto the scene within our the waterfowl community, and it's like, man, this cat's different. I was like, I dig it. Like, it's really cool. And so I think it's been interesting just the way the hunting community has evolved over time, and now it's like you're kind of primed and perfect for what is now accepted as being different in the industry. So it's cool.
It like we were talking about in the blind earlier. It wasn't a fuzzy, warm welcoming at the beginning. I mean,
sure,
dude, I had legit death threats over my Louis Vuitton gun. That was a complete joke.
Yeah.
But I'm talking death threats. They were, I mean, all the different Facebook forums, people making memes, people digging, finding pictures of my family and stuff like, literally stuff that just cuts deep. You can call me anything you want, but leave my family out of it, you know? And it was like, I mean, it was just a constant deal, but I stuck to my guns. I'm not going to get on and play the keyboard warrior that they want me to do.
Right.
I'm just going to buckle down, let my work speak for itself, and
It's the best thing to do.
go and
Earn the
show
respect.
world, you know?
Well, you built a brand. I mean, that's honestly what you've done, and you really made brand building as an outfitter important and honestly competitive, because that was what made you different from everybody. Is you actually, at some point I feel like there was a turning point where you realized you were building a brand and you were selling merch and doing these different things. What was that? Like, when did that click for you?
Dude, if I'm being honest, I really don't know. Like, at first it was just posting pile pics, and I really, as much as I don't want that to be what built us, it was.
Sure.
I mean, it was just, damn, these guys kill a lot of birds.
At the end of the day, that is your main product.
And we were running big groups. I didn't have any investors. I didn't have anybody helping me out. And I wasn't charging enough. I didn't know.
Sure.
I hadn't been doing this. So, I mean, I'm getting calls early on. I'm getting calls from other outfitters that have become friends. They're like, dude, you're killing us. You got to go up on your price. You got to, price yourself where you need to be. And that was, again, when you don't look at yourself with this high standard, it's very hard to make those changes. But squirrel. As far as like when that turning point was, I think it started with just getting some hats, and I was like, I want to have a logo and hats and stuff that everybody will wear, whether they're a hunter or not, because most of my friends are not hunters at that time. It was musicians and people hanging out at the bar or whatever. You want something that everybody will wear.
It's cool outside.
Outside of the hunting. And I honestly, I looked up to at that point in time, I looked up to like the trout fishing market.
For sure.
There was a lot more. The trout fishing industry had kind of shifted from the Filson kind of everybody wearing the same thing. You were seeing more flat bills and hippies, and it was like, all right, this can work in the hunting industry too, because these guys look more like my crowd. But nobody was doing it yet, or that I know of. I'm sure somebody will correct me, but I just kind of ran with that, and honestly, I mean, a lot of it was not even stuff that like I would wear, but like you say, when you're creating a brand, it's all about what somebody else wants.
Right.
And it was one of those things. It took off and was selling stuff, and it wasn't until Jaden came on really a few years ago that he told me, like, you've got to take this merch stuff seriously, because I always just looked at it as like advertising.
Sure.
I'd give it all away.
Yeah.
And I really sat down and started looking at how much we were selling through the season and so forth, and finally put it on the website. And I mean, year round, we're selling stuff all the time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a blessing.
Yeah,
I just never really, it wasn't something I was chasing.
Right. And having Jaden come on as a full-time content creator, like now he's seeming to do more. He's doing more guiding now, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And what was that? What made you do that? Like, you were like, oh, I gotta have an Instagram, and Jade's good.
I think the way that the whole Jaden thing came about was I remember seeing some of his photography work.
Yeah.
And he had one of our hats on in his profile picture, and just a young kid with our hat, and everybody would love to be scrolling and see, you know exactly what that's like. You see your hat, I'm like, oh, that's cool. And so clicked on his profile, he had our hat on, and saw some of his photography work, and I just loved his style. That kind of, I mean, it just different, little dark, moody, grungy, whatever you want to say. It was just different. And so reached out to him, and hell, he was still in high school. And then, I mean, one thing led to another. Right after high school, he was, I think he was working somewhere else, and I didn't mean to shark him. I didn't really know anything about the kid. I just called him and said, hey, man, you want to come work for me? And, I mean, snap his fingers, he was here. And dude is incredible. He's so talented and young, but
Yeah, he is. You know what he told me?
what was that?
somehow my age came up, and he goes, "Oh, my dad's the same age as you." I fell out. I was
Oh,
like, "Dude, get out of here."
I forget all the
Dang.
time how young these guys
He's
are.
young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be talking about something and they have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm just like,
No.
you're stupid. I'm not. But no, man, I realized pretty quick that like all of my business early on was coming from like the Facebook forums and it was free advertising, but I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was just posting the same videos or pile pics.
Right.
And we were having business, but that wasn't. I knew there was more, and I know that you have to stay relevant.
Yeah.
And if there's one thing that I've learned, if you're not staying relevant, if you're not staying on top of it, somebody's right behind you,
For
and
sure.
they're going to.
They're looking for their opportunity.
Yeah. So got him, and we've had great photographers and so forth the whole time. I've been blessed to have really good folks in my corner the entire time. And again, I don't take full credit for it. I know that there's so many people that have been there along the way that have helped, and I'm grateful for every one of them. But, in particular, Jaden with the content side of stuff now, it's more important, I think, now than ever.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Definitely.
if you don't have the look, nobody's going to find you.
Right.
Right.
And it just kind of is what it is, man. I mean, I know a lot of great killers out there that struggle for business, or they just
They don't know how to market what they do.
and there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
But it's just, we've ran with what we were doing, and it's worked.
It's worked, yeah.
I've got a question for you. So, like, aside from Mallard Bay, before we met, and you really did a lot for our business, and we did a lot for each other, still do. What was the separation between you, like the hunting, and being an owner, like a business owner? Like, how did you separate it? Were you able to, or did you have to learn that?
Dude, I'm still not good at it. Like quiet on the set. Sorry, wife and kiddo just got home.
Nah, it's all good.
But no, I'm definitely I'm not good at it. I'm not always the best at being a boss. I'm more of I want to work with you, not have you work for me. And sometimes, unfortunately, that bites me in the ass, because there are times where you need to be the boss. You need to take control. You need to, be that guy. And that's not one of my strong suits. I want everybody to feel like they're on my team rather than working for me.
Right.
But I don't know. I think we operate more as a family rather than a business. And like I said, it's not always great. Just like any family, when things get tough, you'll have your so-and-so's button heads, and then somebody's got to get in the middle of it. But I think at the end of the day, if you're here, you're in the family.
Yeah.
And we want you here. I don't know if that answered your question or not, but I'm definitely not good at the boss thing.
Right.
Well, I kind of want to go back for a second.
Rapid fire.
More rapid fire. No.
Part 2.
So I'm still sitting here just thinking about your journey, man. Like the business side of it, it's amazing, but I just think in order for you to get to this place, there's just so much that happened. And so I want to keep unpacking some of that, if that's cool. Did you have something?
You
I had a
shoot first,
question
man.
that
was probably maybe along the lines of yours, but more art related. I mean, as a filmmaker, editor, my style is very much almost music first, edit to the music. So music creates emotion for me, which creates art. And you're a musician. So my question to you was, throughout the years, like when you first started out finding that passion, that outlet to write songs, what were you writing then, and what are you writing now?
What was I writing about?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Great question.
Life,
Yeah.
I honestly, man, I go back. I don't play as often as I wish I did. I stay busy, but I still find myself digging up some of the very first songs that I wrote. And I think if you look at, a lot of your artists, their first album are the best, right? Mm-hmm. And I think it's because you're pouring everything into it. That's life to that point, right? And then you get I don't know what I'm trying to say, but you're life is a trip, you know. I wrote songs about breakups just like anybody else, but just loss, love, life in general. And I think writing songs now would be the same thing, but
the intensity of those is different in different phases of life, I feel like.
yeah, you know,
So
when
surely that would.
when you're 12 and, 12, 13, 14 years old, there's not a whole lot of life that you can see.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, there's something like beauty in the innocence of it too, like
yeah.
there's still a kid can still see things and may see it from a different light. And I think that's probably how I was writing, but I don't know, man. I that's a really hard one to answer truthfully. I mean, I think some of my earlier songs were the most heartfelt, and just because it was life and things that I was going through. And then you got your dark times as you're getting older, and things start to write about sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and all the dumb shit because you think it's working, and it always sells.
Yeah.
But when it goes back to like what was important, those earlier songs were the ones that meant something.
Yeah.
And if that, I don't know if that even answers it, but
Yeah, no.
yeah.
Definitely. My other question to you is, in this video, if you were to pick a song for like a rain out, just as an editor, if you were
like
editing and you were like, now I changed the song, I want this. What's your rain out song, man? Like birds are falling. What is it?
Yeah, dude.
Yes. We want the Toby special slow-mo rain.
We're deciding
Everybody's
right
hyped.
now
Yeah.
what music
feel
set
like-
the tone for this
I
episode.
feel like everybody's watching me and they've all got a song, and I want them to tell me. I'm like, somebody tell me what I'm supposed to say right now, bro.
We all know. Do you know?
Damn, let me get back to you.
I don't know.
I have no idea, man.
I don't do song names.
That's
Yeah, same. I don't know. Some super hype music. I don't know.
fast hitting beat,
Yeah,
You think
probably.
rap?
Dude,
more rock.
I wish I knew more rap. I'm learning.
Okay, Jaden's
the young
teaching me.
bucks are trying to
Yeah.
teach
Jaden
me.
and Cole
They're trying to teach me
bumping
the
that
way,
like
man.
90s
Yeah,
rap
yeah.
lately. Yeah.
Hitting that old the old Dolph scene, man.
Yeah.
But no, dude, I don't know. I respect it all. I really do. Like,
Fair enough.
give me
You have
some
other
90s
music
country. Hit me some 90s country.
There we
on there,
go.
bro. Yeah.
90s country.
Now we're talking.
That's
Okay.
a mix-up right
Now we're
there.
talking.
Yeah.
Bang.
Yeah, find you a good
Hey, he'll
mix
do
of that.
classical
Yeah.
music, so I mean, it's
Yeah,
Even better,
we
dude.
do it all.
Hilarious.
I really like to diversify the music a lot. So
Yeah.
Yes.
any change of pace, I like to just surprise.
We haven't done
people,
anything
so-
with like 90s country vibe at all. So
Yeah.
No, dude, it's funny. Like I grew up, my dad hated country, so I grew up listening to rock. Like I was, I lived the whole '90s rock scene, and I love it. From Candlebox, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains. That was my scene. I love it.
Yeah.
Didn't really listen to any country at all because my old man just made fun of it. Now I go back and I'll be out there mowing the pasture on the tractor, put in some old 90s country. Dude, you just want to mow, want to hit my pasture, go hit the neighbor's pasture. You don't want to get off of it.
Yeah.
I
So
love it.
if I need if in the mornings, when I'm driving by myself, if I need me some hype music, I'm gonna turn on some 90s country and just get after it.
Okay. There we go. That's
dig it.
That's
All right.
an
There you
answer. Yeah.
Yeah,
do you have a
there we
favorite
go.
band?
What?
Do you have a favorite band?
Oh man, that's absolutely not.
That's a hard one.
That's definitely hard.
Yeah, no, I get that one. All right, I want to rewind it now for a second because we've talked about this incredible journey and maybe some life lessons. I want to dig into the life lessons. Like for some people listening to this, what I've learned and being on other podcasts and doing this is that a lot of people really can be inspired and to do great things or to change their lives even when they listen to a bunch of guys talking about whatever. And so if you had any key takeaways from your life, like based on the experiences you've had, maybe whether it's, getting over addiction or, taking a leap of faith and going after your dream, whatever that is, what do you think you would have 2, 3, however many, insights, if you will, that you could throw out there to somebody that's maybe listening?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want it to sound cliche, but I know without a shadow of doubt that without me finding God and really having that relationship, I wouldn't be here.
So did you feel like that relationship with a higher being with a heavenly Father wasn't there when you were living the music lifestyle? Did that come after?
I mean, I grew up in church, and I was a believer. I always knew, like like we all say we know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you knew something was there.
Right.
Yeah.
It's hard to wake up and see what we see every day and not believe.
Sure.
But I will say at that point in time, I wasn't even a Sunday Christian. You know what I mean? Like I was a mess.
Yeah.
But luckily through life and through me owning the bar, I met my wife, and she was just different. At that point in time, I was running around with bar rats or whatever you want to call them. Sorry, ladies. I was running around with people that I didn't need to be running around with, and it was the norm, and almost a game for what it is. And I'll never forget, she came into the bar on a date with a guy that was actually, he ran sound for us sometimes, and I thought the dude was gay. I really did, and so I'm over here flirting with this chick the whole time. I'm thinking, all right, cool, what are you doing here with him? And turns out that they were on a date. I didn't know, but
Mr. Steal Your Girl.
Steal your girl.
she was just different. She was classy.
Yeah.
It was like one of those, however many years, I think 12, 13, we've been married for 12 years. So 13, 14 years ago, I can still tell you what she was wearing when she walked in. It was like that kind of an impact.
Yeah.
But anyway, so met her that night. Then a little while later, my friends threw me a birthday party / housewarming party, and she just happened to show up to deliver some booze. She was going on another date, and when she showed up to drop off their care package, I was like, "No, you're not leaving," And we ended up hanging out and really got to know each other, so to speak, have some conversation. She ditched the date that night, and the rest is history. But when I was already head over heels for this chick just because she was different.
Sure.
But she had her own family. She had her own, a good job. She had 2 boys already. She'd been married and divorced. She was a little older. She was like, you don't want this. You need to go and do your life. She didn't want me to walk away from the music. She didn't, she was very supportive of what I was doing and didn't want me to step away from that. She tried very hard to push me away.
Yep.
And I wanted that. I wanted what she had. I wanted to settle down. I wanted a family.
Yeah.
And she was like, all right, well, if you want to see me, then you can start coming to church with me. And so I would, for a long time, I never met her boys. I would meet her at church on Sunday. She'd drop the kids off at the daycare. We'd sit in the very back row of the church, and eventually over time we'd start holding hands back there, and but she absolutely came into my life at the right time, saved my life, and if it wasn't for her not really pushing me into that situation, obviously at that time I was not there for the right reasons. I was there because I wanted to hang out with this chick. But if you hang out in a barbershop long enough, you're going to get your hair cut. And one thing led to another, and I just, like I said, I grew up in the church. I had a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth from church early on. I was in the youth group band and also in a band playing in bars because there was nowhere else to play. My youth group teacher had to have something to say about it, so I kind of had a bad taste in my mouth and was just kind of pushed away from it. And she kind of brought me back into the church, and it changed my life, man. I got a relationship with the Lord like my dad. Like he's a friend, and I know without a shadow of doubt that none of this is me.
Yeah.
And that's, I would say, the biggest thing that I can tell people is God is real. And if he puts something on your heart, it's for a reason.
Right.
And my goal in life is just to show people that you can do whatever it is that you want to do.
Right.
But inspire people to dream and inspire people to just take that leap of faith. But
Yes. Yeah.
for me, it was finding a good woman, not the ones I was running around with. Finding a good woman, and really, really digging deep and building a relationship with the Lord. And here we are. And I've been, there's not many things that you can show me or put in front of me that I hadn't seen, touched, or done. Right. And I've landed on my feet, and that's incredible.
That's awesome. No, I love it, man. I 100% get what you're saying. Different but similar. You know, I met my wife in middle school, and I lived a little bit different life in middle school and high school than she did. But yeah, same thing. There's something different about it, right? But that's how religion really came strong into my life and totally set me on the path that kept me out of a lot of trouble, probably. And lived in Ecuador as a missionary for 2 years and preached the gospel. So anytime, you know, somebody is touched by the hand of the Lord and inspired to live the gospel and you know, recognize who their Heavenly Father is and that, you know, Jesus is the Christ and that you can find a lot of peace and joy in your life simply by living his gospel and staying close to him. I'm always a fan of that. I'm always love to hear that. So that's great. And for people listening, you know, I know that sometimes religion can be a taboo thing to talk about sometimes, but hey, you know,
it can be touchy.
The best thing you can do, soften your heart, be open-minded. If you're struggling in life, man, lean into it a little bit.
Yeah, and have faith. That was what I was going to ask. Was kind of like both of you in general. Like, what is your definition of faith in your mind?
You're going to have to go first. I might steal yours.
I mean, for me, so faith. I feel like there's a big difference between knowledge and faith. Faith and hope are tied very closely together in my mind. So I can hope that something good's going to happen tomorrow, you know, and I have faith that it will. Doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Right.
Versus knowledge being like, man, I know that table's wood right there. I can see it. I can touch it. Like, I know it is. Faith is believing in something that you can't see or don't know for sure is going to happen, but you hope that it does. And through that, you know, you can remain humble. And I think in the gospel of Jesus Christ, being humble like Christ was, you can become more in sync to his teachings and why he taught the things he did and why it's important to live your life that way. And so I think faith is not an easy thing for some people. You just have to kind of have some belief and some hope and lean into that and realize that the way the gospel of Jesus Christ works is not to be this, you know, book you open up and it's like, here's all the answers. You do this. This is all the knowledge.
It's not black
That's
and white.
not how that works.
Right.
Because you can't grow your own faith without having some trials and tribulations along the way. So you just got to believe and hope that you end up where you want to be.
What he said. Oh, man, I think just being able to rest knowing that knowing and believing it's going to be all right.
There's a lot of peace in that too. For sure. Being like, once you can let go and truly accept that sort of faith and hope in your life, a lot of peace comes after it. So for sure.
I think one thing I like to see with Toby, he is so different, like you said.
Yeah.
He wanted to be different, wants to be embraced being different.
Yeah.
And I think that's sort of what we need, especially like I see my generation, the generation beneath me, it's the principles and family and everything is breaking down, and it's people coming, like finding it again because that is what's right. It's what feels right. And so I think embracing like the differences, like it's like we had to go from Church of England to like Catholics to different Baptists. And like now it's like you need to have that personal relationship and you need to be you in the best way that you can. Not you have to go to confessional. You have to do this. You have to do that. It doesn't have to be a structured. Your relationship with God is yours and yours alone.
For sure.
And I think in the hunting industry, that's more evident. I think we're blessed to be able to go out in the morning and have one of those mornings sometimes where you just sit there and you just smile and you're like, this is it. And that's your church better than any pew you've ever sat in.
Absolutely.
That's what sings to you. So I think the more the younger generation can be around that and not be judged for being different and be brought into that feeling right there, that's the key. So
Definitely.
The Lord knows your heart, man. He knows everything about you, knows who you are, and you're perfect.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's not what's taught in those church doors often enough. And so, I don't know. I've been blessed to find a church that really leans into that. And instead of leaving, like when I was growing up, I grew up in very traditional church, and you leave, in my opinion, I'd leave feeling dirty almost, you know? And when you can go to church on Sunday and leave refreshed and feeling like, you know, I am a child of God. I am perfect because he made me perfect. That doesn't mean I shouldn't strive to be better. I need to strive to be the best version of me that I can. But too many times people just get hung up on the idea if you're a Christian or if you're, you know, I'm supposed to be perfect. I am far from it.
None of us are.
And I'm not only am I far from it, I can't pick up the Bible and just go scripture to scripture. Not at all.
Right.
But I know
but that's not what makes you a good, you know, follower in Christ either. It's not about that.
Yeah. Right. Well, one thing that I did want to get into, and I don't know what time we're at.
We can keep rolling.
But I think we all kind of have a passion for rooting out something in the industry as a whole, like the waterfowl industry specifically. And the toxicity,
this is exactly where I was about to start to
in
go.
the industry. And like as individuals, you know, I think one of the best things we can do is just talk about it in general. It seems to be taboo for people to just talk about it.
Because we've talked about it on this trip. We talked about it with Paul when we were in Canada. Yeah. Keep going.
So in your mind, what can make a difference? Like, how do you communicate that to the masses?
And let's call it out more directly.
Yeah,
Like,
because
he's
he hasn't
leading you
been in
in.
on these conversations. We've had different experiences, I think everybody, and you had, it sounds like your grandpa took you on some hunts early. That's your introductory phase, right? And we talked about, you know, for example, like my dad was a basketball coach. I was trying to figure it out. I was trying to figure it out on my own and had some horrible experiences going into hunting, like getting made fun of at boat ramps for like whatever I was trying to do. And it should be a group. It should be welcoming, and it seems like it's worse than ever these days, especially with keyboard warriors and social media. And I'm sure you see that. I'd just love to hear your opinion on it.
I think
Here we go.
We got the bleep button ready if you want to really unload.
cut the shit, man. Like, I don't get it, man. Like, you don't see it in fishing charters. Those dudes are all on the radio. They all want to see each other succeed. Like, hey, they're over here.
They're all referring trips to each other.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
Yeah, helping each other out. Like,
And I mean, we're chasing the same $100 bills flying through the windstorm. You know, like I get that, but at the same time, why do in our industry? Why is there such a hatred towards each other?
I don't get it, man.
Why not be stoked that your buddy's killing birds?
Yeah.
You know, like
It's
you
the
were
envy.
talking.
It's like the envy of it.
I guess. I mean, I
don't know.
I don't know. Everybody wants to complain about it, but nobody is standing out there on the front lines and saying, "Cut this shit."
Agreed.
And how do you?
Yeah.
You know, like the only way that you can do that is to try to be the person try to be the best version of yourself, and try to take some, you know, small steps and make a difference, and hope that somebody else will follow in those footsteps, and you know, again, cut the shit. Like, I don't even know.
That's what it boils down to. I mean, absolutely. I mean, it's tough too, because a lot of times what people don't, it's not always so like in the eyes of the community where, you know, talking crap about each other and the lies and the, you know, the hate. You don't see it out in
Face to face.
Behind closed doors.
It's in the DMs, man. It's like, hey, I heard so and so said this about you, dude. The stuff that I've heard about people that I think are some of the best people in the world, just great human beings. I've heard crap about them that I know is false, but it's going around. I've heard stuff about myself that I'm like, well, that's not true. You know, like we've talked about it. Like, shoot, a couple weeks ago, Hunter got into my DMs and told me how horrible I am and that I'm a liar, that everybody in the industry hates me. And I'm like, man, you need a hug, bro? Like, you can call me. I gave him my phone number. Call me, dude. I'm happy to talk to you. Like, you need something in your life because you have way too much hate. But like, you're right. Cut the shit, guys. Like, enough's enough. Like, if we're truly a community, like if we were to define community, a community gets along. Community helps each other. And the waterfowl industry is still continuing to creep away from what a true community should be. So it's just disheartening. But like you said, I think we can be the best examples we can be and stand up and, you know, do our best to be the opposite of the stuff that we don't like seeing in our space. But hopefully people can rise up to that too.
Yeah, I think we should be just as stoked, like Toby was saying earlier. Like the guy that goes out and gets 2 birds on public, he's
Dude.
happy, but people will crush him. Like, oh, 2, bro, really?
Dude, you go out there and smoke freaking
dude.
a couple of shoveler hens, man. Fist bump, bro.
If you're happy,
If you learn something new,
yeah.
and you're happy, exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're having the same feeling as someone that just had a 500 bird day, maybe even better. Like if they've had, they're only happy with 500 bird days, and you shot 1 bird and you're happy. That's probably better for you. Like you have a passion.
The reality is nobody out there, none of us are better than the other person. We all started the same.
Absolutely.
Knowing nothing.
Yep.
Knowing absolutely
Someone
nothing.
had to show us what to do.
For sure.
We had to
for
learn
sure.
hands on.
And I think somebody recently told me, I wish I could remember who said this, but when it comes to clients, every day is opening day. And every person that walks through the doors, they're on vacation. They're here, maybe they're here with the expectation of killing 100 birds. Maybe they're here because they want to go and hunt with me or one of the guides. But whatever it is,
Or spend time with whoever's with them. Just
exactly. There's so many different
They don't care about
variables.
shooting a bird.
Like,
Who knows?
Had a group the other day. It was just a father and son, and he sent me a text a few days later and was like, I really appreciate just the opportunity to, have some time with my son.
Yeah.
There's everybody that comes through here's got a story.
Right.
And, I'm just as guilty as anybody. I want every person to see the show.
Yeah.
I want them to see what made me fall in love with it. But at the same time, if I rewind, what made me fall in love with it was far from 100 bird days.
Right.
It's that one bird. I remember the first duck hunt. Remember, you know what I mean? Like the big piles, they're cool. I don't remember half of them.
No. Yeah.
And, and
Fair.
truth be told, like now, as a business owner, and me and my guys were talking about it the other day, some of them are a lot better at, hey, do you remember when we were on so-and-so? Do you remember this hunt? Do you remember? And unfortunately, for me, my mind is always on tomorrow. If we're sitting there in the spread and the hunt's going great, I'm thinking about tomorrow. If the hunt's going slow, I'm thinking about tomorrow. So I would say take a step back, and I should listen to myself here, but take a step back and just appreciate every day that you're in the field.
Be in the moment.
Be in the moment. Yeah. Don't be afraid to live it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know, I'm calling myself out. I'm terrible at it.
It's hard.
I want everybody that walks through the doors to see those lights out moments.
Sure.
But at the same time, most of these folks have, maybe they've never even, they're happy seeing the birds that we see.
Yeah.
I want those birds to be sitting in the decoys.
Yeah.
And that's a hard concept for guys that do it for a living to understand.
Right.
But I think if you just give it your all, and that's all we can do. At the end of the day, we can't make them come to us. But I'm the world's worst at when things don't go great. I'm just like, I take it personally. I want everybody to know that I carry it on my shoulder because I want you to see. I want to light that fire, and that's unrealistic. It's not going to be that way.
Right.
Yeah.
I know it, but I can't. I got to
tough.
break that in myself.
No, for sure. Well, man, I think this has been awesome. And before we wrap it, I got to know, like, some of these tattoos, man. Like, can we get some stories behind them?
Yeah, which one?
Well, I mean,
I got some fun
this
ones.
one, like,
Yeah,
because some people may wonder, like, I've always wondered, like, I think they look awesome.
So the one on my eye is the Alpha and Omega.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah. Well, funny story. So this one that's been removed now. It was I went to the tattoo shop to get the Alpha and Omega.
You had something
over here.
removed there? I can't even tell.
It's getting there. Thanks for noticing.
No, it doesn't look like there was.
No, so I wanted the Alpha and Omega over here, and the dude like stacked them like the original.
Yeah.
The Alpha and Omega. And it was just too small. It looked like I had the Angels baseball logo on my eyes.
Oh, no.
I wore that around for about 3 weeks and then started laser treatments. Got it lightened enough. Then I made another bad decision and covered it with a flower because that made sense, and I hated that. So wore that for about a month, and then, here we are 4 years later. And I get zapped all the time, but no, the Alpha and Omega is what that is on my face, and that's just the beginning and the end.
Right. It's also religious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And this one right here. like right in front of your ear on your left side?
Oh, the I'm greater than a 99.
Yeah.
So you know the parable.
Yeah.
The,
Yeah.
That's where that's from. You'd probably tell it better than I would.
I don't know if I could tell it that
There's
great.
it's a parable in the Bible about a shepherd losing a sheep, and shepherd leaves the 99 sheep to go and find the one, carries it back on his shoulders, and rejoices over finding that one sheep. And in my life, I was definitely that lost sheep.
Yeah.
And again, man, I want everybody to know this is not, this is real.
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But that's what that was about. Is just I was greater than the 99, and I've been lost many times, and I've been found.
And I want to expound on that because I think it's so important. Like this parable that he's talking about. Parable is basically like in biblical terms is like a story. It's a teaching, right? An analogy, if you will. Yeah. And so a lot of Christ's teachings were done in parables.
Yeah.
And basically, I think the most important part of that parable is no matter what you've done in your life, no matter how bad you think you are, and that there's no coming back, that you have no redemption, Christ is always there for you. He wants to go and find that lost sheep. Yeah. Even if it's one out of a billion.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he
loves
rejoices
you.
more over that one
than
the 99 that were already there.
Exactly. 100%. Love that. Love it.
Okay.
That's what that was.
Red tattoo on the left side of your neck.
The red one, it's kind of funny. So my sister was a surrogate for a couple in Israel. Let's see, Jerusalem or Israel, something like that.
Okay.
And so I asked her, I was like, "Hey, you think you could have them write something for me?" And so it says Hallelujah, which translate to praise God. And I wanted them to, I didn't want to trust Google. And so I know it's correct. I've had several people, randomly read it to me, and most of the time it's been in airports. So, but I know it's correct. It says Hallelujah, praise God. But she stopped herself, but she had them write like something about my sister's my favorite or something.
Oh no way!
And if she would have followed through, it would have been even cooler. But it does say praise God or hallelujah.
That's awesome. Very cool. All right, what about this one on the hand?
The old hand. So my parents had at the house I grew up in, had a little nest on our porch that had swallows all the time. There's swallows, and so it's just a cool traditional tattoo. But swallows always find their way back home, and my parents had them on their front door, so I just thought it was kind of
Love it.
I wanted hand tattoos. If I could go back, I'd do something different. But, there we are.
But I like it that so far, like all the ink we're pointing out definitely ties back to your life story.
Oh, yeah.
I assumed it would, but.
Yeah, everything that you see, for the most part,
is your journey.
Yeah. I mean, me and my mom both have this little Snoopy here. I couldn't remember the alarm code on the tattoo shop I was working at in high school, so they tattooed it on me. Got the old, you'll know what this is, I bet. Let's see. I'm calling you out.
All right. Test time. My rapid fire.
You know what that is?
Tooth Grand. That's got to be
Is
a
that
movie
before?
I haven't seen.
It was before
Maybe.
You're before the time with Co's. So it's like all of the, a ton of Co's, I don't know what you want to call them, like a bunch of the friend group or whatever, we all have the little black tooth grin. That just means that we partied hard and we had to earn it. I guess it's like a Yellowstone.
Gotcha.
Right.
Black tooth gang out there.
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. Well,
but no, most everything's got a meaning, and some of them are just like that. It's just a place and time with. Whether it was backstage or with a friend or whatever,
Right.
But used to, I'd go really into depth, and they all had to, have this big meaning. Oh, my God, that's forever. But now, I have no problem going to the tattoo shop with you right now because it's all a memory, and it means something at that time.
No, that's cool. I love it.
Yeah.
Very cool, man. Well, we're super excited to have been able to spend time with you, and definitely got to come back and hunt some more.
Yeah.
Got to make that a priority. But we usually like to end our podcast segments with a couple of questions. Shouldn't be too hard.
I was gonna
no more rapid fire.
I was gonna
Toby
remind
loved
you.
the
No more
rapid
rapid
fire.
Oh, dude, I
Toby's
just
been-
Now Toby, he was
stuck
nervous
the landing
about
on it. Yeah, dude,
You
I
were
stuck the
nervous about it,
landing.
but now you're like, man, let's go on
Give
more
me
rapid fire.
more.
No, so in the true nature of what the Road to 100 is and our journey of meeting all these cool people and making this a really cool worldwide community experience around waterfowl, we're chasing species, but what we're really doing is creating this journey of awesome stories. And so everybody's got a different bucket list. If you could only hunt, or if you could hunt any one species of waterfowl, what is the top at your bucket list? Maybe something you've never hunted before.
Something I've never hunted.
Yeah, one species that it's like, gosh, if I could hunt
your
one
bucket list bird.
that I haven't, this is my bucket list bird.
Dude, I have really wanted to go and do brants the right way.
Yeah, Pacific brant or Atlantic brant, like East Coast or like down in Mexico.
Yes.
Jeez.
Yeah, wherever. You just ship me off. One way or the
Mexico.
other. But no, I've really wanted to go and do a brant hunt. And
Yeah.
then, was it the day before you guys showed up? We shot a brant here.
I saw that
like
photo. It's so
literally
cool.
5 minutes from the house.
So crazy.
But so that one, I mean, I'd still like to go and do it right. But I genuinely, bro, I just like to travel. I like to travel and hunt. Period.
Yeah.
Like, it's numbers wise, we've got it. So I just like to go and have a change of scenery.
Different
Like,
experience.
Yeah.
I hate to admit it. I've never stood in the trees. I've never done a timber hunt. I'd love to do that. I'd like to go out of the country and hunt some
Right.
cool stuff. But
So that gets on our second question then. If you could go to any location to hunt waterfowl, anywhere in the world, so we'll call brant your bucket list bird, and it doesn't have to, your location doesn't have to match that, but if you could hunt in any location in the world based on experience you'd like to have, what would that be?
dude, I'd kind of like to go. To Alaska, I think.
Yeah, it's special.
Yeah.
It's cool.
But I don't know, man. I've just been listening to your stories throughout the weekend, and you tell me where I need to go. There's so
some
many
cool
incredible
places.
stories. Yeah,
there's some
and
cool places in the world for sure.
just got to start making the time and check it off.
Yeah, well, maybe we can join you
Stoked.
when you start going to do that.
yeah, stoked to.
I'm in.
Stoked to be a part of this one, but
Cool.
do something to do in the future for myself.
Let's make it happen. We're down for sure.
Y'all hear
Well-
that, boys? I'm going on tour next year. I'm out. Hold it down. Mic drop.
Y'all take care of things.
It's interesting. I think I'm surprised because I always thought that, a lot of waterfowl hunters that I knew that I grew up around, like the guys I went to high school with that sat in the back and dipped Copenhagen and duck hunted. Those guys, they're like, Alaska, no, I'm going to hunt on my dad's pond or the day I die. And I felt like so many people were like that, but almost every person we've talked to on this journey so far is like, it's about the adventure, man.
Yes.
Like I love where I hunt and I'll always come home.
Yes.
But I want to experience this feeling in other places. And I'm so surprised by the people and the amount of people that have shared that passion,
Yeah. I love it.
So
Makes me feel better about all the crazy crap I do. Justify it to my wife more. Yeah, no. Well, man, and as we sit here saying that, like, how many people would love to come to the Panhandle of Texas and experience this, right?
big bucket list for me.
Yeah,
And
I know you were super
thank
looking
you,
forward to this one. yeah.
Toby, for making it happen. It was a little bit of a fourth quarter moment.
Yes.
There for
If you haven't watched, Kayam's pursuit of a sandhill crane,
it was
Go
it
watch the
was-
episode.
Yeah, it was not as expected. So
Yeah.
y'all should go check that out. But yeah, Toby made it happen, and just I'm from Texas originally.
Yeah.
And that was like a bucket list thing for me. So I was when I finally got my chance, I'm like shaking.
Whipped
I was
your
out, and I
whipped
was
your first
joking,
shot.
and I was jokingly going, "God, don't blow it."
Yeah. Thanks, Logan.
He may or may not have blown it.
Dude,
I gotta go watch the
You have to
episode.
go watch.
so glad we made it happen. And,
Yeah.
and it just goes to show, man. Like, it does not matter who you are, how good you are, how good you think you are. Bad days happen.
Yes. Yeah.
Again, like we were
Doesn't
talking
matter.
earlier. Cut the shit. Bad days happen to everybody.
They're birds.
Yeah.
You can't
have bird
make
brains.
them land.
They're gonna do bird
Especially
stuff.
apparently with cranes.
Yes,
Oh,
especially with cranes.
I think Toby needs a new tattoo that's crane's gonna do what crane's gonna do.
Yeah, no
like it.
doubt.
I
No
like
doubt.
it.
Gotta, yeah.
Well, man, if somebody wanted to book a hunt with you, what's the best way to get in touch with you? Where can people follow the Cadillac Creek journey?
Yeah, CadillacCreek.com, MallardBay.com, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Cadillac Creek.
Love it. Awesome, man. Well, thanks again for the hospitality. Thanks for letting us tell your story. And
Thank you.
yeah, we'll see you on down the road.
Yeah, come on back.
That's right.
All right, buddy. Sounds
Thank
good.
you, guys.
Thanks, guys.